gonna dive right in, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to my weekly lives. As you know, April is Financial Literacy Month, and it's also Counseling Awareness Month. So I wanted to pair the two because counseling, of course, is my heart, and finances is very, very important. Hey, Kinsley, finances is super important. We understand that a lot of times when people don't have their money together, that creates anxiety, depression. It's pretty much a trigger for a lot of individuals. And so I linked up with you. I was just like,
Yes.
oh, yes, it's amazing. So tell the people who you are, your brand, and what MPM Financial is.
Okay. My name is Korea Lawrence, and I am the CEO, founder of NPM Financial. We are like literally your one-stop shop when it comes to finances. So I actually work with individuals one-on-one in dealing with consulting in regards to credit, debt management, budgeting, as well as I'm also a licensed insurance agent. I also am certified in the credit repair industry, and I'm also certified in the financial coaching industry. So when it comes to money, I love it. I love to talk about money. Like it's just so much fun to me. I love numbers. I have one of those numerical brains, so when I see a number, I can literally memorize it. My clients think I'm crazy. They're like, how did you add all that stuff up so fast? I'd be like, I don't know. So, yeah.
Girl, it's a gift, honey. Math was never my thing. I was always language arts, okay? So that is a huge, huge blessing. What people may consider crazy, we like to call passion. So it's
Yeah.
amazing that you are walking in your gift and you are doing it and doing it well. Basically, the topic tonight is how to create cash flow, especially for times of crisis or even during times of crisis. So I'm
Hmm.
going to give you the floor and just like go at it,
Yeah,
sis.
absolutely. So a lot of time, especially right now, I'm a focal point here where we are right now, and also give some other ways in addition to creating cash flow. But right now, where people are not knowing, maybe losing their job, or just not knowing if they're going to lose their job, and what ways to be able to make sure they can protect themselves from that. Um, well, you can't necessarily protect yourself from losing the job, but what you can do, what I always tell people, the first things first, and my giving a little bit of my backstory, what I do like to tell people, I am not someone who just jumped in the finance industry. I found myself in the finance industry based upon mistakes that I've made.
Mm.
And once the mistakes that I've made, I saw myself being able to help other people and being able to get results from the people I was helping. In addition to, that's when I was like, okay, let me monetize this gift, right? And that's what people. That's going to be the first thing. A lot of times we have gifts, very simple. It does not have to be extreme of what that gift is or what a skill is, whether it's writing a resume, whether it's, doing something as simple as, making masks that people are doing right now. Um, Something so simple that where another person would definitely pay for that particular skill. That is the number one way to bring in cash into your home. The second thing I was going to suggest as well is, a lot of times, I'm sure if ever heard anything in regards to financing, look for things in your home or to be able to sell. There are several different sources: Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, as well as Posh. Those are three, as well as eBay. Those are four huge streams that you can actually create cash flow in your home. So when it comes to OfferUp as well as Facebook Marketplace, a lot of people tend to put actually free items on those two sources. You go pick up those free source, those two, the use those two sources, pick up the free items, and then you actually replace them back and actually add a number to that. So whether you put $30, $20, $40, have somebody, and that's $40 in your account that you did not have, and nor did you have to pay for that particular merchandise. It's done all the time. I've actually done it, so I know it can be done. In addition to that, when it comes to Poshmark or eBay is another one where a lot of times where you can find certain items, let's say on Walmart.com,
Mhm.
and something as simple as a toaster Toaster might be $17.99. You can place it on eBay for $39.99. Okay. These are where you've now, of course, you won't pay for shipping or anything like that. And you've now created almost like a drop shipping company, but without having to do all that other back end work. But you've created profit off of that. Okay. Third thing that I was going to suggest in regards to paying down debt. People don't realize a lot of times, especially now where we have the phone companies and have made it so easy for us to get these expensive phones. And a lot of times we end up having to, some people do not pay their phones outright. They might not pay that $1,000. They might not pay that $800 for that phone. So they'll put it on your actual phone bill and you'll end up paying $25, $30 a month for that phone. If you pay off the phone, you no longer carry that phone bill. So that is paying down debt. In addition to if you have any high interest rate credit cards, once you take, say if you have your stimulus check for $1,200, right? Balance maybe like $5,000 or something like that on a card. You carrying a 23% interest rate on that card, you're gonna end up paying over $1,000 something interest in a year on that card. But if you reduce that debt down, then of course at that point, then you will not be, you are reducing your interest, the amount that you're paying throughout the year, which means you're increasing cash flow in your account every month as well.
Yes, ma'am. There's a couple. For those of you who are just joining, hey Tiffany, hey Rebecca, hey everybody else who are just joining. I just want to reiterate what she talked about. First of all, the number one thing that just resonated with my spirit was identifying your gifts and doubling down on it and learning how to market them and be of service to other people. That is key. Create a list of all of the things that you're good at. Whether you think that they're major or not, create a list. If you're good at administrative interventions, go market your skills. There's plenty of people who are looking for virtual assistants right now, okay? Right. If you are an amazing shopper, make sure that you are going and utilizing your shopping skills. Get your mask, get your gloves, pull up, get your stuff, and keep it moving. There are so many things that you can be doing in this moment. Double down on your gifts. The second thing that she talked about as well is paying down debt, utilizing that stimulus check to make sure that you are reducing those interest rates, okay? She is spitting game, y'all. Hey, Tina! Yes.
Yeah, so also I do want to talk about in regards to once we come out of this, we do need to look into things where I know if you're in a job, like you're working 401k, if you have a 401k, if you have a Roth IRA, anywhere that you're putting your money into an investment wise, these are ways as well that you can create cash flow. You want to make sure that in regards to putting your money in places that's going to give you some type of bearing interest, that way your money is going to be working for you while you're sleeping. One of the hardest things to do is continue to make money while you're awake, because we only have 24 hours in a day and we definitely need our 8 hours of sleep or more. So you want to make sure that you're putting your money in places where you can start earning money while you're sleeping.
Definitely. Great thing. Residual income, making sure that we're making money, like you said, while we're sleeping or while we're working. It's always great to find those extra streams of income and flipping our money passively as well. I know you talk a lot about the skills that go into creating streams of income, but do you ever get a chance to talk to your clients about the mindset that it takes to stay committed to this financial journey?
Yes, I do, a lot. Honestly, that's probably more half of my sessions than anything. A lot of times what people don't realize is that our relationship with money is literally drawn from trauma in our lives, especially if it's negative, right? And so the way that we spend a lot of times derives from the pain that we've experienced in life, because we have this in the survival mode. So we've lived and survived, like we've had this survival mode. So we're like, I got to hold on to this, or I can't spend this and I can't do, and then, or I'm just spending because I'm out of control because I have no control. Right. And the lack of, and what people don't realize is that real control comes from budgeting. Real control comes from me telling myself, no, I cannot do this in this moment. Real control comes from Okay, I see this meat over here for $5.55, but I see the other one over here for $4.35, and I think I'm gonna get the $4.35 because this one just really makes sense. Yada whatever. Instead of looking at different brands and I want to go with the Kroger brand over maybe the Jenny O brand or whatever the case may be, just because of just my mindset. So that is very, very important. One of the first ways to tackle when you're beginning on the money journey, when you're beginning on looking how to just be financially healthy.
Definitely. When you started talking about trauma, I got excited, girl. Because that is my wheelhouse. But definitely in our program, at our residential program, in order for them to move to the next phase, they not only have to acquire a job, but they also need to learn how to manage and budget their money efficiently and effectively. Because oftentimes we have to dig deep and see what our relationship is like for our money, right? There's some people who live with the scarcity mentality, like you mentioned. We're too busy trying to survive. On the other hand, you have individuals that just blow money like never before because they've been enabled throughout their entire lifespan. So it's important for us to dig deep and see what's important and how we, the main brands be trying to get my money is all the same. Yes, yes, definitely. You really have to have self-control. I always let people know self-awareness creates room for freedom. Yes. Freedom comes from the ability to know who you are and be relentlessly honest about your habits and those cycles that we find ourselves in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even honestly, I've had clients that make quite like really great money, right? Over $200,000 a year. And what happens is, in regards to these particular situations, is that I've never been in this situation where I've made this much money, but now I feel like I owe everybody in my family access to what the hard work that I've put in. And that is not necessarily true. There comes a time where we have to put on boundaries with our money and say, okay, I can make a budget for you. I can put you in my budget, in regards to if I'm going to give out this amount of money. But that's how a lot of times when you see basketball players, celebrities end up going broke is because they get access to these funds and they're not using money as a resource and a tool to get access to more, to flip it, to let it bake, to, allow it to rise and things like that, like they're supposed to. But they're just spending, they're just giving, and they have these great hearts and they just want to help everybody, in which, yes, we can, but we can also put everybody on our team to make sure in our taxes that we paying them folks, right? And we getting our money back on the back end. In addition, they're working for me to make sure that I can make some more money. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Definitely. I remember probably like a couple years ago, there was an article released about students of color. Why it's so hard for us to save money is because when we get our refund checks, we're usually sending money home or using that money to bail other people out. And I was just like, wow, trust me, I went through that when I was a student. And so that's why I'm super passionate about finances, personal finance, and things of that nature. And I love being able to connect with men and women like you, because it's just so important to bring enlightenment to stuff like this, because a lot of us didn't grow up with the resources or the knowledge to be able to learn how to save and flip our money, to make our money work for us. Right. Usually it's all about paying bills, or let me just go ahead and take care of X, Y, and Z. Like, we're so reactive and not proactive when it comes to the tool, which is the dollar.
Or even afraid of using credit, right? And I think a lot of times that people are afraid of using credit when not realizing that credit can be leveraged to create cash flow, right, in a healthy way. And it doesn't have to necessarily be looked at. It doesn't necessarily have to be looked at in a way of where I'm putting this credit line attached to my social security number and I have to use up everything that is on my full balance of my credit limit. You do not have to do that, but you can leverage your credit in a way where you can begin to create cash flow into your home based upon either if you're purchasing a business or, doing real estate, quite a few different entities that you can use credit to build some cash flow.
Definitely the huge fear behind credit. But there's a caveat to that, though. It's one thing to be able to leverage credit. It's another thing to be responsible enough to pay that stuff off.
That's the thing. So if you're going to leverage it, whatever that you're leveraging off of, that the money that you've made, you got to pay that balance down. I do not believe in carrying balances over unless you seriously have to, or unless you're building credit. Now, if you're building credit, you definitely want to have at least 5% on there just to play with the credit algorithms. That's just the way that it works. But if you're not building credit and you're using your cards on a monthly basis and you're not trying to leverage it, you're not using it as a way to leverage and increase cash flow in your home, then I would not necessarily suggest it just to be using credit.
Definitely.
So you have to have a plan. There has to be a plan before you start going out and trying to get all these high balances. No plan, don't get them.
Definitely. How do you combat or even challenge those mindsets of paranoia? Because, oftentimes we've been raised by our grandparents or raised by those parents who are just like, no to credit, no to this, pay everything in cash, the very traditional mindset. How do you work with that?
I ask people what their goals are.
Straight to the point. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish?
What do you want? What do you want? What are your goals? And based upon what your goals and what you want is now we have to map out a plan how to get there. Can we get there where you are right now based upon the situation? Or you look at the roadmap that I'm given, and do you think you can get there better in this way? So you have to choose. I don't force feed my clients in regards to when it comes to giving them different strategies, but I do put everything out on the table, and I'm very, very straightforward with them. And letting them know okay, you have this and you have that. And then, if you're not using the tools that I'm giving you, then, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes.
Because I can only do so much,
Definitely. All right. Let me see if anybody had any questions. For any viewers, do you have any questions for Korea? No? Okay. All right. Feel free to drop a question in the comment section or just definitely slide in her DMs. Y'all, her name is Cashflow Korea, Cash with a K. Please hit her up. Please hit her up. I met Korea through David Shan's Real Social Proof and slid her DMs. I was like, sis, we got to collab for real. And I'm just so grateful and just so blessed to be able to have you in this time and your wisdom and your insight. So thank you so much to agreeing to this.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yes. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions, I don't want to be before the people too long. Like I said, y'all definitely hit her up. Cashflow Korea, Cash with a K. Please stay tuned for the next installment of the Legacy Speaks Lives. April is about to come to a close. It feels like it, right? So, but we'll be doing this every single week. All right. And thank you so much.